All right, once you've made most of the corrections or all of the corrections on the image, the navy picture that we've been working on, and this is after several probably hours of trying to get it just right. Remember we did make our selection earlier and saved it, and you can see now that what I've really been shooting for here is to try to get the repairs made out to this edge. Okay, and it looks like I may have just a little bit left to do over here to make sure that I can feather a little bit of a edge over here on this. So maybe I'll spend just a few more minutes here, kind of making a few extra, another eighth of an inch maybe of repair there. So I'll just zoom in here, and I've been using a mix of clone stamp tool and paintbrush, and you can see that I duped fingers by clicking here and then making a new finger over here. Got to make sure I'm on the right layer. Click, and you can make new finger by cloning the old one like that. And so there's a little bit more of a finger and a fourth finger, you might say, on this. I'll clone here and match this in. Okay, it doesn't look much like a hand, but it's just enough to get me by here as I try to get out to the end of this area that needs to be corrected. I'm just using my smudge tool here to bring this out a little bit more. And back to the clone stamp tool. A little bit of fingernail maybe in here. And you can see it's not really exactly pretty and perfect, but it'll probably serve the function that we need. That is to just provide enough of a hand and enough of an image so that we have room to add that additional selection. I keep hitting the wrong thing here. There we go, and that should do it. I think I'm going to call it. I'm going to call a quit to it here and finish this up. Okay. Basically, then what I do as I kind of work to finish this out is to eliminate the extraneous stuff around the edge. But before I do that, go to your select and refine the edge. You want to add a little bit of a feather to this, and you remember how this works. Focus on this little slider right here. And you can see it softening up the edge. Just makes it look a little more pleasant than if you just have a hard edge deal like this. So I'm just going to soften that up. Not too much, because if you go too far, you can start seeing the parts here that aren't really fixed. You don't want to do that. So keep it soft enough that it kind of looks good. And I think that'll probably work right there. Okay. Now, I've got a feather on there. I just saw the preview. I want to inverse the image. Remember, you can do that with your marquee tool and right click and select the inverse, or you can use select inverse from up here, or you can just remember the shortcut Shift Command I. Okay, now what I've got here is everything else but this selected on the top layer. As I press delete, it'll just get rid of those pixels that I don't need. I'll deselect, turn off my show transform controls there, and you can kind of see how this turned out. Right now, if you want, you can put a background back in there if you like, to do something, to make it look, I don't know, a little better perhaps. If you don't like just that bare background there. Click on the bottom layer, add a new layer of solid color, and then pick a color that you like. This one defaulted to a kind of a gray. Doesn't look too bad. You know, you could maybe pick a color out from in here if you want, or maybe even here. That doesn't look too bad either. They're nice subtle colors. Okay, and then now you don't want to end up with it covering up your other image there. So if you bring that, oh yeah, you have to unlock the background, and then bring this down. Not that one, this one. Okay, I'm looking over here in my corner. Okay, I just unlocked the background layer and put the color layer in behind that. Now, to get this to show through, you'll need to get rid of some of the white that's on this layer. Okay, so there is a color back there. You just need to make it present. And here's a good way to do that. If you'll select that layer that's got the white, that's this layer basically, and then use a rectangular marquee and decide on a size that you want. Okay, even it up. I'm kind of looking at the other page there just to give me an idea of how tall it should be and maybe how far to go on either side of the baby's, on the side of the lips. Okay, right. Think about what I'm doing here. I'm working on this layer. It's got white here. I've got that layer. I've got that area selected. If I just delete that, I believe it'll let color show through from the background. And at this point, you may decide, it looked better before. Maybe it doesn't look so good now. You can click back here on the color itself, and if you double-click, you get to change. Get to go up here and change some of your options on which color you want to use. You can even use a color that you pick from within here. I think maybe lighter might be good. And remember, you can also, once you get sort of close, which this one is starting to get close, you can pick from within here as well and get something maybe that's related. Kind of like that color maybe there or maybe there. Okay, so just kind of drilled a hole through that white and let the color show from behind. There are other ways, of course, that you could do this with paint layers and other things. This is just another method that seems to work well. What I kind of like is that I end up with a rectangle that's this size here and this size over here. You could do any number of other things to it, maybe add a gradient or a frame or something around it, anything else that you want to do that'll make it look good. Okay, and so do all your editing, get it all fixed up, make sure it looks really good, and then for our final touch you'll want to add some type along the bottom. And I've got another one here that I can show you that I have finished that looks pretty good, if I can find it. Here's another example of some work on that. Now in this case, what I did was I made the image a little bit bigger, actually by making this smaller. And remember, that's a better way to do it. Okay, so it fills the frame in a little different way, but you can kind of see softer vignette, still a background color in there provided, and then the type around the edge makes it look really good. Okay, so just mess around with yours and make it look as good as you can, and make a good showpiece out of it.